Welcome to 48ers, where we talk to filmmakers about their experiences creating short films in just 48 hours. From brainstorming the story, casting, production, and post, we're going to get a deep look behind the scenes of the teams competing in the 48-hour film project. My name is Doug Kriz. I'm your host. I've done about 6 48-hour film projects over the last few years, and I just wanted to learn how to do it better. So I created this podcast as an excuse to reach out to people to say, hey, let's just talk about what it takes to make a great film in 48 hours. In this episode, we get the second part of our interview with the team from A Houston Story. Their film is showing at Filmapalooza this week in Lisbon, Portugal. Wishing them the best of luck. It's a beautiful film. Here's the rest of our conversation. Tell me a little bit about, like, just narratively, A Houston Story. It's almost like a mosaic, right? It's like a collection of these like moments where you really kind of feel
Right.
what's happening. And I love how like you've got these like nice, slow, beautiful push-in shots, that stick shot, and then you got like a handful of handheld shots you do on your phone. And it just feels like a lot of little slices of life, a lot of like quick little moments and these lines of dialogue that, on their own kind of have their impact. And when you really listen to the whole thing, it creates a full narrative. And maybe I'm not watching enough movies, but like you talk about a minimalistic style. Like what are you inspired by when you pulled that together? It was just a really interesting way to tell a story. And I think you pulled it off. And I'm just kind of trying to figure out how you got there.
So one of the things I really honestly inspired by is movie trailers. I was like, hey, you know those movie trailers that tell the entire story in one go? And people are like, we hate those. Well, I hate movie trailers that tell the whole story.
Absolutely.
You know everything now. Why? I was like, you know what? That'll probably work for a 48 though. I was like, because it gives you the entire range of an entire film, like the entire emotional range. You can build, you have drops, you have like takeaways, have moments that your characters rise all in one moment. Can I tell a story in that structure? But it can't just be straight a trailer because people will notice it as that. So I wanted to break it up into moments, right? You still have to have moments where you're just there, they're standing there and they're just piercing. Like they have these moments where the dialogue is effectively still happening in a narrative fashion. So that even though it's a trailer, it's still happening. How do you say it? Chronologically.
Yeah. Sequentially. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still happening that way, so that even though it has the feel of a full movie trailer like that, it's still a film. It still gives the sense of a film because it's still happening. It's not like a whole bunch of out of place snippets. It's still like if it's happening.
It all hangs together, but it definitely, I see exactly what you're going for.
Yeah.
I mean, and it really, it's challenging because like that's when you sit down to write a script sometimes, like, and I see this in a lot of 48s. It's like, oh my gosh, dude, can we just get a little more exposition here? Like people just like they've got
Yeah.
to tell all these stories and all these turns and everything. I'm like, nobody cares, man. Just get to the moment and leave some things unsaid, and you pick those moments really, really powerfully.
And one of those things that I've learned, so I've taken a lot of criticism to my writing, but like I take it internally in the way to like improve my writing, so that whenever I take like I've learned to like write less and less dialogue as I've gotten better with my writing, because you realize that, dude, you don't need to keep telling people what's happening. Like, stop doing that. When you do that, people get pissed off because you're making them feel dumb. It's making them seem like you think they're an idiot. It's like they can't get it themselves. And people don't like feeling dumb. They don't like feeling like someone thinks they're dumb. And so as I'm writing, I started having less and less dialogue. And so that eventually I was like, you know what? I want to see if I can have like maybe 5 lines of dialogue in this entire film. But when you can do that, you can write the most important parts, and then you can add more to like pepper it to make it like prettier. But you find the most
Mhm.
important lines, like what actually matters in the scene. And so now this is where I've culminated into this kind of film where I was like, you don't need much to tell this story. Like, you really don't. Like, I think every question asked probably the person asking it already knows the answer to it. It's just one of those like last 5 minutes of someone's life like that. And so I don't think much needs to be said by that time. By that time, anything that's been said has already been said. So we don't got to talk a lot. And people can understand by their tone, by their moments, where they're at, what they're doing. And that I think is true filmmaking when you can tell someone what they're doing by just showing them. And people are like, no way. Dude, at the end, it's like, dude, they killed that man. You know, like that. Like if you do at the end, you see it's like, oh, they obviously like they did something and they are ashamed of it, like that. So
Hmm.
that now I've gotten to writing more action because and I've noticed that it's gotten like my very first one was right when I got out of college when I was like trying to write all this like super important dialogue, you know? Man, this is how the world is. This is how everything is. All your characters are philosophers. Everyone has the answer to life. Everyone has like these great, like everyone has the St. Crispin's Day speech.
I wish
Like,
I could be in my
no,
20s again, right?
right. Then when you get older, you realize that the smartest people you know barely say anything like that. And a lot of these
That's good
stories,
stuff,
people
dude.
just they have moments, and it's about capturing those moments, you know. So minimalist.
That's man, that is gold. That's really that's Fabian,
Okay.
introduce yourself, man. Tell me a little about who you are, what you're doing, and what your role was in the Houston story.
Yeah, yeah. So I found out that Orlando's Painting Co. Or I'm sorry, Briona's
Briones painting.
Painting Co. Needed a sheetrocker. They needed sheetrocker, so they picked me up at Home Depot a couple weeks prior, and that's kind of where it all started. So yeah, yeah. No, I've been working with these guys for probably about 5 years, and I've been doing video for about 10, and just really enjoyed working with this team. And I mean, these guys are freaking beast. So
Where do you carry weight? You're just like a sort of general producing. Like what? Where do you kind of where were you most valuable in terms of the work you were doing on the film?
yeah, so when Christian originally approached me about the project, it's mainly been like, hey, this is the kind of stuff that I want to do. I need help like organizing it and putting it kind of to paper and getting it going. And so that was just kind of like the process that I filled in. Honestly, like Christian and Orlando and Sticks, they make my job really easy because they know what they want. Right, and so the problem is just to make sure that everyone's there on time, they know where they're going and things like that, so, yeah.
You're the man behind the scenes who are kind of making sure the wheels don't fly off the truck, I guess, right?
Right, 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 and which is kinda hard with Christian, but yeah.
Yeah, because I'm driving that truck at 180 miles per hour. Like I got a plan and
Yeah,
everything, but
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
driving it at
Expired
180.
tags, everything, yeah, yeah.
Everything. That's funny.
And Fabian, was this your first 48? I know you're working with them a lot, but have you done one of these before?
No, this was my first 48. I had heard from a friend of mine, Christian, I forgot his last name, but he had worked on a 48 with you guys, I think like in like 2015 or
Mm.
something like that. And he was kind of talking about the process and stuff like that. And this was actually the first year that I'd ever, joined the 48. And yeah.
The I guess the last question I had was is because the more I look at doing these, it's I think a lot of the challenges is to sort of pick your lane, right?
Hmm.
You're gonna find a way to tell a story. You can't do it all. How do you go in locked and loaded to really play to your strengths? So, what are those strengths? Like, what are the things that you're doing where you feel like, man, this is our wheelhouse. This is what we're born to do. But I also want to hear the other side of it. Like, where are some things where you're like, man, I'm not going to touch that, or that's something I want to learn to do better. Like, where are those? Where's the stuff you're strong at? Where are those growing edges?
You want me to go ahead?
This is for the group. Yeah,
Mhm.
everybody take a turn on this one.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
baby.
I think that's one of the things that's really cool. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that's really cool about this project is we're not really set in a way where like, hey, this is camera department, don't touch camera department. This is grip, don't touch my stingers, things like that. I think that's what's really cool about this team is like we're really nimble and a little bit more like guerrilla style where we all jump in and we have this culture where, like, say on a commercial shoot, we know that we're representing the agency and we're here to serve the client. And so we all kind of know what needs to happen to get done. Whether, I'm producing, I'll still jump in and I'll help, Sticks lens swap. But, that's the same with Christian in Orlando. We all jump in into different parts and we can all ask each other questions. And it's kind of like, it's kind of like an open door policy, where we're really able to kind of, at the end of the day, like we're here to help each other grow and to play. We know that we can play in a league that's higher, but it's like we're trying to elevate each other.
That's a great perspective. Doesn't matter how good I am if I don't have a team that can come alongside me, right?
100%. Um, one of the things I was thinking about was I'm my creative mind is like a fountain. It just keeps going, going, going. And I'm bad at paperwork. So that's why I get Fabian. Like Fabian is like the man at all that stuff. Like I'm just being on a practical level, that's just like straight up. Like I would forget something, some paperwork, something. But Fabian is the one that's like, oh yeah, I got it. I do like paperwork, boom, 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 gets everything organized. And that is like the most important thing that a lot of people don't understand, that organization, true organization on set is something that you do not like, a lot of people lack. And Fabian has made that like freaking possible, you know? And so Sticks has gotten just way better at his craft. Like, and so it was dope letting him just, him real proving to himself how good he is, you know? Because I don't think he has seen himself do something narratively. And so him seeing it himself was like, man, I can jump that high? Like, I didn't know I could do that, you know? Like, yeah, dude, you could this
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
time.
I love
Like,
that.
you didn't realize it, but it's kind of dope. So, but also straight up, the most honest reason why I have these guys is like, I trust them. That's like on a straight personal level, I trust them. Stuff like this, uh, it's really hard to find people that you truly, truly 100% trusted. That's why I think you should keep those people very close to you, because it's an industry where things change super quick, you know? And so it's one of those things that like everyone has developed a strength that has like just made us better. That's why, so we all have a role, but each one has improved each one of us at the same time, you know?
That's beautiful stuff, man. I was looking at something today and they're talking about how film is like the most collaborative art form. I can't
Yeah.
imagine something that's more collaborative,
Yeah.
that doesn't need people from so many different disciplines. And if you talk to somebody who thinks they can do it all, like there's no way you're doing any of it at a C level. I mean, it really, really, it's a team effort, man. It's a team effort.
Yeah. I
So
I think too, like the culmination of the last, I've been working with these guys for about 5 years. And I think the culmination of it is just like we've been getting our reps in, and we all go into set and we work together on different projects, other people's projects. And, we have, good things and bad things to say about other people's projects. But at the end of the day, it reminds us that this is us getting our reps in and we need to be doing our own projects.
mhm.
At the end of the day, it's like, because we want to be able to kind of bridge the gap. And even like, we did a movie, Fight Boy, a couple years ago now. And in the big thing behind that was Orlando and Christian really wanted to, like show people that it's possible to do a film and still have a life outside of it by managing a schedule and having like shorter shoot days and a shorter period and still, put out some really dope stuff.
Human
And,
boundaries,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, human boundaries, right?
yeah.
And it's kind of like respecting that. And yeah, no, 100%. And I think us three have really grown a lot together. We're kind of like on a health binge the last couple years. Well, Sticks kind of started it, and we got a hold of the juice he was drinking, and we just kind of went in. So we all kind of we're trying to elevate each other in like aspects of our lives and challenge each other, which ultimately makes us better storytellers.
Hmm.
So, like, I'm kind of a self-taught guy. Like, I had another career and I started doing video film stuff about 12, 15 years ago and professionally started doing it about 10 years ago, but I've never actually worked on anybody else's set. which is like a weird confession of mine. And I know that it makes me not as strong as I could
It's
be
a safe
otherwise. But
place, man. This is a safe place.
well, yeah, well, my point is like I think that a lot of like film sets have a reputation for being kind of a toxic environment, right? Like you
Yeah.
get let me tell you, you get creative people, you get a really demanding time schedule, you got people who are paying big bills. I get it. But when you can create a different kind of environment where creative people feel vulnerable and they can really throw themselves in there and they're not worried about looking like foolish or getting reprimanded or whatever, I think that's kind of a special sauce that not a lot of people, avail themselves to.
Mhm.
Honestly, that's like pretty much with Orlando and Christian, like that's
Yeah.
what they create.
Yeah.
I can say that's like just saying some of the stuff to get better at is like showing people that that's possible. Kind of like like Fabian said, understanding that you don't have to work 12, 14-hour days to get a job done if you do it efficiently and you don't overthink it, and then knowing that mistakes are going to happen on set. I mean, we're all human. I know when I first started working with, like one of my first big projects we worked on with, I'm not going to say that. It's a big project that the team we have now worked on, me, Orlando, Fabian, because I did work on things before this one, but like I ruined like a K Panavision. Yeah, it was on one of our
It was,
films, and that was, like,
yeah,
me
right.
starting off. That's kinda me getting my first AC gig with,
Yeah.
Orlando, and, like, I'm like, "Oh, man, I'm about to go home because like,
That's
I
hurts, man.
literally missed the first week because I had COVID, and then I came in and, like, the first couple of days, I burned out this, something more expensive than I could pay for. But it was like a learning lesson of insurance is a thing and people is more important. And I think that's a big culture thing that we hold in our camp is that nothing's more important than the people around you. And I think that's where our trust come from because we all hold that to our heart. If you work with us, it's not gonna be, don't break that camera. Like, yeah, don't break that camera, but were you safe?
Yeah.
Did you, do the right things and make sure that you're good? That is something that has to be installed more into just the creative culture, the film culture, because we do get on a lot of sets. And I will say his brother big on letting us know, like, man, y'all bougie. Cause we work with him all the time. He pays us well, I will say. He does make sure that we eat well and that we don't work past what we're worth. Um, but then we get on other sets and we complain because it's just not a culture thing yet.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's a lot of working hard, working fast, which creates, people getting hurt or gear getting hurt.
Yeah.
Um, and like that's something that we definitely have changed. Like I said, like for our 48, we probably shot a total of 6 hours, like he said, 3 hours one day, 3 hours the next day. Like that's kind of unheard of. I know my first 48, we literally probably worked maybe 40 of the 48 hours and I still turned it in late. So it's like it's just, you get better at learning that it doesn't take all that and you shouldn't put people through that because
Yeah.
Mhm.
like while I was sleeping, someone was up editing and like this guy's at the computer like this when I wake up. So it's like, should I put somebody through that? And it's like, nah, you got to figure out efficient ways to do it. It's always a better way. And I think
There's
that's
always a better
where
way.
Yeah.
we work towards and try to make it fun because like you see us on set you can tell that like we're like brothers at this point because like we just get each other all of our stuff is like kind of the inside jokes thing but when we bring people in we're always making sure we teach them how we do stuff so when they go out they can carry that on.
Man, I hear that. I absolutely hear that. I'm glad to hear there's
Yeah.
other people rolling that way. That's fantastic. What's on the horizon for you guys? Are you doing a 48 this year?
I don't think we're personally gonna do it, but there's some PAs that work with us, and I
Yeah, we
offered
talked
them the
about your
opportunity.
plan. You're looking at equipping some teams, right?
Yeah, I told them if they wanted to do it, we'd totally back them up and be like their sponsors and like help them out with whatever they needed. But they're post college grads, so I'm hoping they're not too wishy washy and they decide to pull the gun and say, "Yeah, we're gonna do it." Because I know me personally, when I was post college, I'd be like, "Yeah, it sounds like a great opportunity." Then at the last minute, like, be like, "I don't know," you know. I'm hoping they pull that. So that's what we want to do. I'm hoping to
You got to
for
commit,
48.
man.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Yeah, because I encourage everyone to just create because they might make something dope that I never thought about, and it inspires me to make something even crazier.
We've been in the habit, like, because I started with the first time I did it 3 years ago, I just sort of grabbed every single person I thought that could carry some water for me that I trusted.
Mhm.
Right. And we did pretty well. And then the next year, I kind of blew the circle out a little bit. I'm like, who do we know? How do we grow this team? And then that happened again this year. And we had like 26 people on our crew, which a lot of that is like, just herding cats at that point, just getting everybody where they needed to be and having all these extra hands on hand. But I started to feel like, man, there's a lot of people in here. Like the guy who does a lot of our writing, he's like, I'd love to direct. I'm like, how does that work? How can I create room in my team for people to take on roles that I normally would have taken or they wouldn't have taken otherwise?
Mhm.
And you want to have creative control. You don't want to make a mistake or whatever. But if you're more concerned about people growing and learning, it's kind of a little different lens. But how do you imagine, and Styx was the benefit of that with Orlando. How do you like build those people up and set them off so to set up to win?
I mean, so
Uh,
like if it's a case by case thing, say like for this production, we just wanted to give Sticks the chance to be artistically creative. So we're like, hey, so nobody says that you didn't get all the opportunities you could to like do your best. We're gonna give you the best camera we have and the lenses we have, so that you have the tools available to and the filters. So this like literally a body, the lenses, the filters. That's what the minimal you need to make a good image. You know, that's minimum. So we're like, Sticks, make something dope with this. So we'll pretty much set them up in with the best gear possible in the best situation and make them kind of like how I organize my days just for like any position, like so that especially if they're learning, is that I set them up to succeed with little to no room to fail. So he doesn't gotta really worry much about framing. I give him some room to play with framing, so he doesn't have to think of, man, where can I find my next shot? Like don't worry about that. Let me just give you the shot so you can find the best version of it, right? Avian, I would be like, yo, this is all we need. Just this paperwork, this paperwork, this work. This is the website. This is all the paperwork. Any other questions you need, let me know. I'll answer them for you. But here, like that, trust you with taking care of all this. So you have to trust them that they can do what they can do, but don't leave it too ambiguous where they have room to like mess up. That's how I think you should work with people. Like
Yeah.
say like with the director, like give them room to be creative, but still keep him in a box so that he doesn't like because he'll stress himself out too with too many options. You have a better chance of ordering something good from a menu with only 3 things than a menu with 500 options. So if somebody wants to
Mhm.
direct, if
Mhm.
that's your plan to give him a chance to direct, like, give him, but don't give him too much room because he can't. He needs care at the beginning. But also, you have a big
Like
team,
some,
so why
I
not
keep
just
thinking about like the bumpers on a bowling lane when the kids go bowling, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not and it shouldn't. And then one thing I do with the people I work with, I was like, hey, I need you to be 100% honest with me. No ego. We need to be able to tell each other everything so that there is no miscommunication. And then later on, you're telling me, well, I didn't really like that shot. I was like, because if you didn't tell me that before we did it, and you're telling me now, then I can't work with you again because I can't be having that in the
Yeah.
future. You know, I can't like, so I'm very open with people. So I say, if you're going to work with people, especially if they're going to they have to be okay to open with criticism, but like constructive criticism, because you have to be able to be like, hey, you shouldn't do it. That shot. And they're like, well, that's my shot. It's like, well, the reason you shouldn't do it there is because we have to move all the cars that are in the background. It's not for any like aesthetic reason. It's just a practical reason like that. So
Mhm.
some people, they'll take it to heart and be like, well, I don't care. I want it like that. But the good directors, really good directors, are like, you know what? Let's move it. let's tell it another way because this is more practical. We can do something else. They'll figure out a way instead of like they'll they'll move instead of making the world move for them, kind of thing. So I think,
They're not working in a vacuum and they get that, right?
yeah, it's like, but it's like I think they still have to have that. I think everyone needs those parameters, even writers. That's why I think I'm gonna tell you the truth. That's why my brother gave me parameters. He's given me parameters ever since we've done this. So every time he does give me parameters,
Yeah.
but I think that's totally okay because I think 48 is a good place to really just swing with whatever you got and see what sticks. There's literally nothing
Yeah.
like there's no failure in this. There really isn't. You get a product. You get something. You get a project. Oh, not a product, but you get a project, that you didn't have before. So, I mean,
That's
but
one of the
so,
things that kind of
oh,
interests me.
sorry, go ahead.
Like when people think about doing creative stuff, the constraints that they have around that feel like limitations. But I think when you're doing something artistic, like there's really no artistic expression without constraints.
Yeah.
Like it's that limitations and
Yeah.
not the bottomless budget and no time and impossible
Yeah.
skill. Like, okay,
Exactly.
whatever. But like, how do you do something that's going to impact people with what you have?
Yeah.
And that's a very different kind of skill set than just this pie in the sky, make it perfect, ideal kind of hope.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. A good thing too that these guys do is like they trust but verify. We do have like portions where we like after a set, I know Sticks and I and Christian, we jump on calls and says like, hey, well, what could we have done to make things better? How can we kind of elevate and things like that? But there have been times where we drop the ball and there is that conversation where it's coming from a place of like, hey, we know it's kind of like big bros trying to guide us, right? And it's like trying to put us on, hey, this is A, B, C, and D. You trust, but you verify, So I think a lot of that is kind of what's helping us kind of, move up for
Stay
sure.
grounded. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I think you said it earlier, Fabi. It's the reps too. Like if you
yeah.
want the guy to move into that director role, you get him the reps, but not actually being in a role. So
Mhm.
like this 48 was, I feel like this was that for me because I've worked with Orlando like pretty much as a AC or cam op. He's been kind of like gradually moving me closer to the role of being a DP. And this was the time to like, okay, it's a 48. If you mess it up, no problem. But I had so many reps under him while being able to ask all the questions I needed to know to like make it easy. And then Christian like saying, hey, yeah, let's let Sticks do it. Like I think that was just the okay of him to say, okay, yeah, let me back off and see how this works. Because like I say, with me having those guided, not really just being in the role, but actually asking the questions next to the role, like, hey, why did you change that filter? Why did you do this? Like, just all those little questions, like that let them know, like, okay, you know, I think he got it. Cause there's some, like, as far as editing, that's kind of how I really started in with them. But he knew I could do that just from things that he's seen from me before. But like, actual on the camera side, I think he knew I needed a lot of work because like that was my side that I'm like, I did more from a video side, but I hadn't done it on that cinema side. So I think like for you to, if you got that guy that's there, give him some guided reps, get him the reps in. And once you see that, okay, I think he got it, then you let him go. You give him a 48 and give him a chance.
I'm kind of hoping people will listen to this podcast and feel like, hey, maybe I could try this out. If somebody were going to, try this out, doing a 48 for the first time, like what's one little nugget of wisdom that you would give to them to kind of embolden them and make a good run at it? Sticks, why don't you go first, man?
Go ahead.
I would say keep it simple, have fun, and I mean, make something dope. Like if you feel like you want to really do something, this makes you do it because you have a timeline, you have parameters, and you have to get it done. Um, so I think if this is if, and then that's the thing, like you can start like it also can gauge where you're at in your career. Cause I think that's also a thing for it. It gives you a gauge of okay, I can see I'm where I should be or like definitely like I need to talk to these people so I can get to where I want to be.
Good. That's good. Fabian?
Yeah, I think I mean my only word of advice would be to jump, you know, take take risk and you know, the only way you're going to get to where you want to go is by, you know, putting one foot in front of the other and, you know, get your reps in and jump. I mean, that's really my biggest thing. I think a lot of times, you know, we just overthink things and really what we need is momentum. We just need action. And, you know, and if you're surrounded by people that are taking action, it's going to put you in the place where you need to go because you can always steer the ship, but if your ship isn't moving, then you know the only one that you can, you know, kind of hold accountable for that is yourself. So take risks and move forward, and you know you'll run into the team that you need to run into, and trust the process. I think that's pretty much it. You know, these are just kind of words that I'm trying to live by in this season in life right now. It's just like to get to the goals that I want to get, I just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other, you know, and then that's it. I'll make it happen.
Get the reps in, man. I love that. I love that. Christian, final word, my friend.
If I'm talking to someone who's thinking about doing the 48, think of it in terms of cooking. Don't add too many ingredients. Keep it simple. Some of the most beautiful dishes in the world are 2 or 3 things. Keep it simple, and trust me, you'll create memories.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of The 48ers. If you'd like to be a guest on our show, please visit us at www.thelogosmedia.com/48ers. That link is in the show notes. Please like and subscribe, share with your friends, and keep making cool stuff.